Hello and welcome to another one of our new moon wisdom gatherings. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Alexandra and this is the Jupiter Moon Project channel here on YouTube, and I'm thrilled you're here. And we have new moon in Gemini coming up this weekend, so we're a little bit early, but that's okay. And so I think maybe we just drop in to our spaces with a little meditation and just relax into our space. And if it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes. And just take in a deep breath. Fill up your lungs and your lower belly with that deep breath. And then slowly exhale it again. And just observe how you feel about this breath. And every breath you take, just feel how your body feels. When you take a deep inhale and then a deep exhale, just letting go of any worries of the day with every breath and every exhale. So we're entering into the Gemini new moon this weekend. We are already in Gemini season, and Gemini is an air sign. And that's why I'm inviting you to take some deep breaths in this moment. And really, really feel how that moves through your body. Maybe you can take in some scent around you. And feel how your body relaxes with every breath you take. Feel your feet on the ground. And be in this space. Just comfortable in your space. And when you're ready, come back here in this moment and open your eyes and be present for what wisdom wants to come through to us today.
Thank you for that, Alexandra. I needed that to come back to my body instead of being out there racing with my mind. Thank you.
So how are you feeling? Tasha, how are you feeling today?
Oh, I can't hear her. She's
got
her. She's muted. Muted.
Yes, it takes me a little while to find unmute. Good. Yes, good. Just a little hot at the moment, but and I went for a couple of walks today, actually, or 3 walks, just to be more grounded. Because there is lots of work to be done. So I'm feeling a bit tired, but it's hot, which is not my ideal temperature. So I'm suffering a little bit from that, but other than that, all fine.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really happy you're here, all of you. So I am thinking about this Gemini season. I mean, Gemini has always, for me personally, has been a bit of a challenging sign. Yeah. It's, as I said during the meditation, it's an air sign, and I think that's one of the elements that I don't really, yeah, I've not really found a full understanding of that, what that looks like in my life, and how to utilize the air element actually. So yeah, I'm wondering, ladies, how do you feel about the air element and Gemini?
Well, for me, I tell you, I normally do not have a lot of racing thoughts, especially at night, but this kind of, it's there's a lot going on for me the last couple of weeks, and they've been challenging. They've been very challenging. So I know I really don't, Gemini is, I think in my fourth house is my fourth house in my chart. And I have my, not my midheaven, but yeah, I think my no, what is an IC?
It's I don't actually know the
yeah, the abbreviation. I don't know what that, but it's the opposite of midheaven.
Yeah.
It's like
it's the Imam Coeli, which is your home and your roots, which is at the
Yes.
bottom of the chart,
Yeah.
which is opposite to medium. Yeah, Imam Coeli. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is in Gemini for me in the fourth house. So it's that, and that is home and roots. So obviously my home and roots are kind of messed up right now. So it's got a little challenging. Usually I do well with the air element. I have yeah, I think usually I do pretty if I enjoy this chart, my I'm Aquarius instead of Pisces in my moon, and that is what they usually follow. That's the most important sign in a Jyotish. So usually air, I do pretty well with the air, but not this time right now. So I probably have a lot of other stuff going on in my chart. So I think Saturn is in Pisces and for the next, so maybe that has something to do with some of it. I'm not sure. But hoping to have a little more understanding with my new deck. So
yeah. Kasha, how do you feel about Gemini? I mean, I know it's your sign.
Yeah, that's my sign. I love it.
I'm glad to hear it.
I love it.
I'm glad to hear it.
You know, it's funny because as you kind of learn about astrology at the beginning, it's all quite basic, and you know you kind of read the typical. So I found out about astrology from my grandmother and from my auntie, who are into horoscopes from ladies magazine, that kind of, you know. But of course, you learn about the sun sign, and my usual thing was to go to my grandma and do some cleaning, help her out, and then we would have a cup of tea and some sweets, and she would like, oh, read me my horoscope. So that's why I got into this, because, you know, they were so sweet. And also my auntie, they both passed away actually in the same year, my auntie and my grandma, and they were very attached to each other. They actually lived together towards the end of life. But my auntie was my godmother, and she actually made me, when I was born, she made me like she crocheted a Gemini sign, two tvillingar, so two twins, and then my date of birth, 10th of June. So, and I actually got it from my hometown after my auntie passed away. I got it from, my mom gave it to me because it's my mom's sister, and she said, I thought you might like to keep that and take this with you to England. And I said, you know what, I really wanted to take it with me. So that's my Gemini sign. It's in my room. And so it's funny because, and then you obviously learn about everything else. And I think Karen you mentioned, did you mention evolutionary astrology when you're actually Aquarius rather than Pisces? Is that what you meant, or you meant the
No,
moon
it
is
was
in
the
Aquarius?
Vedic.
The Vedic. Yeah.
Vedic,
So
yeah.
that's,
Joy just Vedic,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think this is also in some circles I've learned recently because I had a reading where you take, when your normal sign is, say, Gemini, you go step back, and this is your Vedic, or this is
Okay.
your evolutionary, sorry.
Okay.
So maybe it's similar thinking. So my evolutionary would then be Taurus, and my evolutionary moon is Pisces, which I find it fascinating that from Aries goes into Pisces. And because there's so many different schools, and
Oh, yeah.
and of course then you learn about like various houses or where Gemini is. So for me, I think it's actually at the top of my chart for my career in the 10th house. So I have been blessed, from that perspective, and I know I will never be short of work, and I really strongly feel that support from the cosmos in that arena. But it's funny because it gives me headache at the same time as it gives me a lot of opportunity. I think Gemini and Air. I mean, I personally love it, but I know it's challenging for. It's funny, my partner is a Scorpio, and I think for him, like in as much as November is a challenging month for me, for him this is probably a challenging month, like at work, and so it's like almost the opposite, isn't it? Like how you experience the world. And for me, obviously now I feel like I'm in my element. So except the heat, because the
Except
solar
for the
return
heat.
is so much heat,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
personally love it. I know it can be challenging. Like for example, I know Ten of Swords is, for example, my the symbolism of the card, right? The
Yes.
Gemini second decan. And it's like, that's not a very nice card.
It's the third
Uh,
deacon, I think.
Oh, even
Ten of
third, right?
Swords,
But
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Nine of Swords will be my second decan, yeah. But I'm
Mhm.
kind of, again, depending how you read it, and I think even in your book, Alexander, which we went through last year,
Yeah.
or at the beginning of this year, I think it's like I'm on the borderline between 9th and 10th of
Mhm.
June. So I don't know which one is actually, my kind of card that I should be looking at, whether it's 9th of Swords or 10. So either way, they're not very good. So I know sometimes it can be a challenge, right? Especially if you get yourself into this, and I'm speaking from experience, get yourself into this mental sort of conundrum and malarkey, and you kind of, so the way I've learned, the way out you learn, the way out of this you learn through your life is grounding yourself. So
Yes.
there is medicine to it. There's like go and plant some flowers in your garden, right? Reconnect, meditation. So I've learned to kind of pacify that naughty Gemini, the monkey mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to really be paying attention and
Yeah.
be aware and learn how to,
Mhm.
because I think it's very easy to say, oh, Gemini crazy and scattered, right? But
Well,
it
yeah.
actually doesn't have to be like that,
I
right?
mean, yeah,
Yeah, right.
cliche. Absolute cliche.
Exactly. There's everything like that is like if you just look at that basic astrology, right?
Mhm.
The horoscopes, and it's always like they
I mean,
kind of give you the
there's so
stereotype, but
much potential there as well, and there's I mean, it's not just the 8, 9, and 10 of swords. I mean, we all maybe take a bit of a sharp in breath when we see those cards at the beginning, but it's also the Lovers card that dominates this
yeah.
season, and I think there's a lot of potential there. There's that wisdom that we can explore our own wisdom, wisdom in connecting with others. I mean, that's what Gemini is all about, really. It's about stepping into the arena and connecting with people, connecting with new things, connecting with new thoughts. And then we look at those 8, 9, and 10 of swords. It's where that monkey mind comes in, and we start judging ourselves, and we start thinking about all craziness that's going on, but and yeah, making things heavy in our mind. But that's not actually what Gemini invites us to do in the actual fact. Gemini wants us to explore the flowers in the garden.
Yeah, absolutely. And the
Wants us to,
whimsy and all the
yeah,
warmth. And
yeah, and
Butterflies and okay.
smell those flowers. I mean, yesterday I was in a garden center and we were actually standing next to this beautiful rose, and the odor that came from it, wow, it was just, and I thought, wow, if I had the space for this plant, I would just take her with me. She was adorable, and yeah, and it's I think that's the magic and the essence of Gemini. It's exploring those little things and finding joy and pleasure in them, and that's what we forget when we indulge in the 8, 9, and 10 of swords.
I agree with you. And the nice side of is that cross-pollination and that ability. Oh, hi, Ruth. That ability
Hi,
to
Ruth.
connect.
Lovely to see you.
That ability to connect the thoughts and people and ideas and networking is the classic, right? Like I love being in conferences, networking, connecting people, introducing one client to another. I love it. I do it naturally. And I also think of this like a cross-pollination, and we need cross-pollination. We need the bees. We need the bees to jump from one plant to another, right? We need them.
We do.
So there's the bright side to it as well.
I mean, really, isn't Gemini like a seeker? And they're doing new things a lot. I mean, that really defines who I am in a lot of ways. I'm out there, jumping like a bee, going from one flower to the next, to the next, to the next. So obviously there's definitely some Gemini qualities in my chart. So
Hi, Ruth. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you, everybody?
Yeah, good.
We are recording.
Yeah, we're recording. So this is the professional part, and then we will go into the pulling cards for ourselves part later on.
So what are you
could make it?
Talking? Oh yeah, I had a little. I'll tell you about it a little later.
Yeah, so we were just discussing the qualities and the opportunities that Gemini has to offer, really, and I'm sure you have a lot to say around that topic.
Well, when you're carrying Gemini as an ascendant, let me see, I have Gemini as an ascendant. I got North Node in Gemini. I got Uranus in Gemini. So I guess I do have a little bit to say about it.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
And they're all pointing at my sun in Pisces, you see. So I have something to say about Gemini. And I'm actually feeling, because this new moon is coming up.
Yes.
And I don't know about the rest of you, but I've noticed that dark moons, I'm more restless. I sleep well during full moons, but I get restless during dark moons. And this one in particular, because of all of that air energy. And then there's a square between Saturn and Pisces and Neptune. So all of that air and water energy, what happens if you get trapped air bubbles in water? Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I'm actually noticing at the moment that I definitely need to feel the air moving around me when I go to sleep. I don't usually need that, but if the windows aren't open, I'm not feeling comfortable. I really need to feel that movement, even if just really soft on my skin when I'm sleeping. But yeah, definitely the need for the air element, the quality of that.
Well, I'm feeling it on the inside, the dark, that deep inner reflectiveness, because you've got these two elements. One is like the cognitive thinking aspect, and then the other part is the feeling going on all at the same time. Thoughts, ideas, and how do you process it, and how do you, because it's really about, mind and heart coming together. How do you bring them together?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. And I was just, okay, lost my thought there.
It'll come back.
Yes, it will. It will. It will. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. I mean, Gemini is a Mercury month as well. And Mercury is the magician. I mean, this is definitely a month that we can use pay attention to our thoughts and what we are actually manifesting with our thoughts, thought patterns that go on.
Yes.
This continuous chatter that might be going on in our minds. And how can we bellow it down? Maybe with some grounding, as Kasha was saying before, and then concentrating on the little and simple things to start creating the magic that we really want to have in our lives.
There's another thing, and I've written a number of podcasts on Gemini, particularly in terms of truth, because it really doesn't, Sagittarius and Gemini, even though they sit on the opposite sides from each other, they both have this need to voice what is true for you. And with all of this Gemini energy, people think of Gemini as, yes, and it is a social butterfly. It has those qualities because it has to be a social butterfly in order to take these ideas out into life and into the world. But underneath there, because remember, it's a dual sign. And that inner part is, what is the truth about whatever it is that you need to tell self more than anything? It's about the truth in terms of one's own self-talk. What are you telling? What are we telling ourselves?
Yeah. Exactly. What are we telling ourselves? And being mindful of that. What's going on?
Right.
And I also, what I really like about Mercury and Gemini is that I don't think this part is explored that much, but it is also about going down into the underworld.
That's right. Absolutely.
And then coming back up again.
That's right.
So
because Mercury actually is the psychopomp that goes down.
Exactly.
Right.
And basically it's interesting. That's that dual, the ability to be in the exterior world, but also having that ability, as you just said, to go down in the inner world and literally guide who we are down there.
Yeah.
And that's why this moon is so important, because in that darkness right now, Mercury is down there guiding us to take a look at whatever it is.
Yeah.
Wherever it lands in our charts is where we got to look for ourselves. Everybody doesn't have it in the same place.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So you have to look at your own chart and say, okay, where is this truth telling and this understanding, and some practical steps that I can take, because Gemini is actually quite practical. Some practical, and that goes back to what Cassia was saying about the grounding. What are some practical steps I can take about telling myself the truth in whatever area I've got to look at?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that and we don't always think of Mercury that way. That it is. I would think it would be one of the first shamanic planets in a way, because of that ability to go down.
Yeah. And it's the I think the goal that is there is the lightness that Mercury and Gemini bring, and where if we go down with Scorpio or any, the more heavier signs, that can really pull you in to the deep and the dark spaces, or even Pisces sometimes. But I
all
think
the time, if you're down under the water and you don't bring your own light.
exactly. But I think Gemini and Mercury, they can just take a look and come back out again.
That's a powerful description. Take a look. I'm saying,
come back out.
I'm coming back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also
I was reading description.
I was reading this book about Circe, the sorceress Circe,
Yes.
by Madeleine Miller, and Hermes was there visiting her on the island when she was sort of banned, or she was banned by Helios, by her father, by the sun, and she had to spend the entire life on this desert island. But Hermes, Hermes, so now Mercury in Rome, Hermes in Greece, he was the first one to visit her.
Yeah.
And he did this obviously very quickly. He surprised her. She had no idea there would be somebody, and he was the first one to visit her, because he had his ways, doing that, and he could shift from the sky to the earth and then back to the underground and the Styx, right? So he was helping with leading the souls for the river, the Styx river, and stuff like that, and taking the money for it. So
of course he did.
I was just laughing to myself, because she often found him like he was sitting here and there like a shapeshifter, like a shadow. Yeah, he had that ability to kind of converse and join her and the underworld, and come back and in one day from the heavens and transfer all the information to her and all of that. So, but I agree with what you just said as well about Ruth, about truth, because I think for me personally, being a Gemini in that second decan of Gemini, so 9 of Swords / 10 of Swords card, I think the ability to be honest with yourself is paramount. It's something that it's almost like the lesson that you have to, your life lesson, to be honest with yourself. I remember also hearing this from my mom, like when I was even a child, and I remember, when I was a child, I used to lie quite a bit, because I think it came from probably the fact I wanted to. I was coloring the truth, but I was scared of people's reactions if I didn't tell the truth. And I always wanted to be like showing myself in the best light possible. So I remember that was always like that truth aspect was so important for me, and I always felt there was something there, something there for me to explore, even though I didn't know how to call it. And I knew I was lying. I knew it wasn't the right thing to do, but and then mom obviously at some point when I grew up, she said, well, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to tell yourself the truth, how it is, So that's kind of something that's always stuck with me. And I think it's very true for that sign. Well, I'm just speaking from my own experience. So
I think you make an excellent point, because wherever Gemini sits, I suspect we all have to tell ourselves the truth in those, particularly in those key areas of our lives. That part would be the challenge for all of us. Wherever it's living on our charts is where we really have to get in there and be honest with self. Yeah.
My Gemini is in the 8th house, and I'm definitely feeling that.
Wow.
Definitely feeling how telling the truth about that area of my life to myself, really being honest, and that it feels like a big life lesson right now.
That's a deep place for Mercury. It sits, your Mercury sits in the eighth
No,
house.
Mercury is actually in over in the 12th house. It's in Libra.
Well, that's still enough. That's some deep diving too.
That
you
is,
know?
but the Gemini sign is the house is the 8th
Right.
house.
It's on the cusp of the eighth house.
It is.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
So the ruler, so the guiding and rulership is from the 12th
Mercury.
over to the 8th.
Yeah. So both of them are quite,
You
rather
got a
deep and
deep diving here. You gotta have
so
your
it's
scuba gear.
Come back up. Don't stay too long. Come back up. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a powerful, and I really appreciate how, we talk each month about the different planets and signs, because they each are giving us the message, if we pay attention, how to move, particularly with those new moons, how to take that energy and create a new intention around whatever house it is. And so it's like we each get our own private coaching about how to take this and utilize it.
Yeah, that's right. And as you were saying, it's a dark moon coming up.
We're in the dark moon right now. Yeah, we're in the dark moon right now because the new moon just is coming. Let's see, what's today? 15th. It'll actually be here on the new moon at whatever particular time will be on the 17th, 18th. But we're in the new moon, the dark moon period right now.
Yeah.
Now, when is the void of moon? I know there's a dark moon, a void of moon, new moon.
Oh, void of course. A void of course is I'd have to look and see. It's when it's not in. It's not. It may be hours, or it might only be a short time when it's between moon signs. It's just not in. It's not here nor there. That's kind of the feel. That's actually kind of, Karen, that's a good question, because that's kind of the feel. We're not here, we're not there yet.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
Now, my understanding, I really didn't know too much about the dark moon. I learned that a few years ago, that it's more of a time of stillness, not really where you want to put your intentions together, just maybe sit back and see what comes, more so than really being in action. So it's more of a time of stillness and
reflection, inner reflection. Yeah, for
absolutely.
Yourself, so that you will know when the new moon, or that there's that window of when you can send out your intentions. But you got to make a decision and understand what it is you want to face, because if you just do it, well, I'll just pick any old thing. That's what you're going to receive, any old thing. and that's a lot of what we see when we don't choose wisely. I think Gemini has an element of discernment in it too. Decide wisely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The ability to decide between one or the other, the duality.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe it's also the invitation to try out one and then the other.
And you remember that one or the other, because we at some point we've got to understand the logical, because that's what keeps Gemini in a fog and going is there's the logical, and then there's the holistic part of ourselves. There's if you want to look at it, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, if we're looking at it from neuroscience or something. But when we're looking at it from our point of view, is how does the mental, when we look at those swords cards, what kind of mental stuff is rattling around and keeping us cut off from what we're feeling? That's the biggest thing with Gemini, is getting into that feeling state. because it's very mental, like Libra, like Aquarius.
Yeah.
And so Cassia said it, grounding. How do we find that third thing to ground us, to help us to bring together our mind and our heart?
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. For me, that's always the tangible things. Creating something with my hands, or like Kasha was saying, planting flowers, working in the garden, getting my hands dirty. It's that really feeling the earth. I think that's important to me during that time.
And that's interesting you should say, because in terms of the part of the self that Gemini represents, that hands-on, it's interesting. For me, it's I really understand why I have this extreme need to touch and play instruments, because what's happening in some ways, I was thinking about that other day, the Pisces part is pulling in, and so you can't see sound, but we can hear sound. Written notation is a symbol system, but yet music is not just the notation. And so that it's energy, right? And so the Gemini, and you, like you said, you got a ground. So the Gemini is the hands and the arms is part of the Gemini, and it's like pulling in that energy through the body in this particular way. And so I was just thinking about that other day, that how with all this Gemini part on one side and this Pisces part on the other side, but they have an agreement that they're both pulling in this energy that you can't really see. Yes, we have notation, but the notation is not the energy. It's just notation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I will be pulling one or two cards. An oracle card for the collective. Karen's going to be pulling a tarot card for the collective, and then we will move on into the private part of our session. Okay?
Sounds good to me.
Let's see what wants to come. I am using the Inner Star Oracle deck today. I haven't used this one in a while.
Who's that by?
What's her name? That's Jo Klima.
Oh yes, I remember her.
You know her.
Yeah.
So I chose this one because it's all about the symbols and just simple words and the colors, and this feels very Gemini to me. So let's see what wants to come up.
Oh, before you do that, can I say this? This is just a little aside, but one of the things that I have now, that goes to my Moon and Scorpio research. One of the things that I have noticed, many card systems are developed by Geminis. The most iconic pack, Arthur, what's his name? Arthur Waite. The Rider-Waite was a Gemini. And I think, don't quote me on this, what was it? Toth? What's his name? Alex. Was he?
Alex Crowley.
I think he was a Gemini too. And I just have noticed that any number, even modern decks, they're Gemini people who have initiated and brought these decks into being. I said, that's interesting. Just a little aside.
Let's see what wants to come through. Karen, do you want to first pull the tarot card? And
sure.
We'll get the...
I've already pulled. I am using Mother Tarot. Yeah, I think Monica used it. It's got a beautiful back. I love it. It's kind of a square card. And it's by Ren McMurdo Brignac. Ren McMurdo. And the card, I thought this was very fitting. The card that I pulled was Temperance. And here you see a night scene. To me, it's like what we are doing in this dark moon and in the sleep and, the hope and celebration and really kind of moderation of what is important to us right now, what is coming to us in this dark time, this dark moon. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to, I see two and Gemini twins down here, really.
It feels like a Gemini card.
Yeah, doesn't it?
And you know why? Do you know why that is?
Why?
Because Temperance is associated with Sagittarius.
Right.
And Sagittarius is sitting across from Gemini. And
Oh.
they both in many ways are seeking to understand, but in particular, the Temperance is that wisdom card. And so Gemini is implicated in this.
Well,
truth and wisdom.
That is so neat. So
yeah.
The cards, yeah. And I love that it's a nighttime scene.
That's right.
Quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Where we are right now, our dark moon, right now. That's a great card.
Yeah. Yeah. So, beautiful. And just I think that moderation that really I tell you I have been going up and down and all around, and that's not usually. I'm not necessarily laid back, no, but I'm a little bit not as erratic as I have been the last. So this kind of really speaks to me that to seek that moderation. And last night during all my mind craze, I did a meditation, just to come back to align and center that body. So with my heart. So what can you discover in the dark, in the stillness, and what is wanting to come forward?
Great description. Absolutely. You said it. What wants to come forward?
There's turtles and the water and all that. So mermaids. It's just, what a neat, I love this. Nice card.
Beautiful card.
Yeah, very nice.
And to go with that card, we have the spiritual truth. I think it goes really well with your card.
And we were discussing that, weren't we?
Yes, we were saying how important it is to speak our own truth, find our own truth, and live our own truth, really.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
it really is beautiful. That color is stunning.
Yeah. I like that it has the triangle in the middle. It has that invitation to dive into that sweet spot right in the middle to find our own sweet spot as well. Yeah. I think these two cards go really well together.
They do, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And we'll post them, right? Should we post them?
We will.
Okay, good.
So that's our message for the month.
That's our message for
our message for this
our spiritual truth.
Yeah.
So.
And were you going to also pull
I'm not sure. Do we want a stone card, ladies? Do you want a stone?
Or do we want to wait? Sure. And I'll do one on Father's Day also. Okay, whatever you want to.
Okay,
sure.
I'll pull a card. Amethyst.
Again, connecting with the spiritual.
Exactly. Third eye.
Right.
See
gorgeous.
Here? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that violet.
And that is an air. That is an air elemental stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I have here on the back of the card, it says Aquarius, Capricorn, Pisces, and Virgo. So yeah, got the
Covers the whole group.
it does.
Well,
It
amethyst
does.
normally is traditionally elemental air, elemental stone. So
Okay.
wind and air, yeah.
Yeah, that's so the affirmation that goes with this stone and this card is my life has infinite possibilities. And I think that is also very Gemini.
I know, infinite possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the colors, even your card,
Yeah, there's
really
some
well.
pinks and
Yeah.
purples and
So pink,
wow.
and purple, and bluish is
Yeah.
the color this month as well. Okay, so to close the official part of this session, thank you so much for being here and sharing all your wisdom with us. This was a really lovely session. I really enjoyed myself, and I hope you did too. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here, and I will hopefully see you all again in our next session. That will be hopefully the Cancer new moon then. Okay, bye for now.